YOWERI Museveni, president of Uganda, a few days ago in a viral speech at the recent Africa Head of States Summit, he said quite a few things in his speech, and we just want to pick out something very interesting he said. He said that Africa doesn't need sustainable development. Africa needs total transformation.
Now, the World Bank people and other groups have been talking of sustainable development. I am now going to be 80 years old. I have never seen sustainable pregnancy. Pregnancy develops sustainably within the womb of the woman. Quantitatively, the baby is growing bigger and bigger. But at some stage, quantitative growth must be transformed into qualitative change. Africa does not need sustainable, what? You could call it sustainable underdevelopment. Africa needs socio-economic transformation.
So we are here on DLS Wave to take a look at this particular part of what he said and what he actually means by what he said. Okay, so welcome back. Let's start on my right with Papa S. So, do you agree with what he said? YOWERI Museveni, that Africa doesn't need sustainable development. What we need is transformation. Sustainable development here we can understand as incremental, developing little by little, but transformation means a complete overhaul of the system.
I want to sound sarcastic. We need to sell those countries entirely.
To whom?
To whoever wants to buy and redevelop it.
Okay.
Because, yes, I do agree with him, but they are the leaders. We pick them to take those decisions.
Okay.
And I want to know how long he has been in government.
Not in government, as a president. In government is like an appointee.
Okay, so I want to know how long he has been the president of that country.
Maybe before you were born or something.
Thank you. Thank you. So
and that was like what? Early 40s?
Yeah, 1937.
Okay. Here you go.
Don't listen to this. My point here is he has been the president for that country for
so long.
40 years maybe? 40, 45?
Yes, and he's talking about the whole of Africa. So we know the challenges we have.
Right.
Why is it today? Because at least his people believe in him. For him to say, quote unquote, don't get me wrong, I know some people will not like his governance or whatever, but he has been in power for that long. So he should have done this one as an example for those other Africans. So when he stands on the, what is the thing they stand on? Not the pulpit.
The podium.
The podium, yes, the podium. When he stands on the podium and spitting facts like this, you have proof. So nobody can come and challenge you.
So you would rather he comes up there to tell evidence of what...
Let your actions do the talking.
Okay, right. Your first comments, do you agree with him?
Yeah, I just want to correct that.
Correct what?
His presidential duration in office since 1986. So that's like what, 38 years, right? 38.
Yeah, thank you.
Almost 40 years. That's what I said.
I was.
Now, what you said, I understand, but look, we keep coming back to the same thing. It's like we need, like you said, but who's gonna provide that need?
Right.
Me.
So the conference is. Let me bring a little bit of context. So the conference is a gathering of heads of states of Africa, and they're trying to deliberate on how the continent can move forward. And he also mentioned that there's always talk of focusing on or encouraging the private sector as the engine of growth. And he's saying that in order to be able to achieve that, they need to, one, find a way to reduce cost of production, one, electricity, two, transportation, and some other factors he mentioned. But he focused mostly on transportation and cost of electricity.
I don't want to sound too critical, but listen, from 1986 to date, at least his country should be a beacon of light for some of these small African countries, or but because other African countries, they keep changing governments,
Right.
yeah. So, but he should be a beacon of light. So it will be easy for people to say, it has been done. I can do it. We can.
Right.
I can tell him that what he's saying, other countries are doing it. Before, I'm not too sure, but I think the time he came into government, since 1986, he should have done, because I think for that long, then he has kind of full control of his country. So I can use other countries as an example. The time he took over as a president in his country, those countries were not that developed. I.e. Qatar, i.e. some of the countries in the Arab Emirates, right? But they've been able to do it. So he should have set that example. I'm not against what he's saying, but I'm saying it has been like in Africa, if you become a president, what we know to do is to talk.
Okay. Too much talk than
Too much talk.
action.
Do the action, let your actions do the talking.
Right. So yeah, he says it's about time we stop the talking and walk the talk. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, for me, I feel like we do way too much politics in Africa, because when you think about it, it's like the words that brought us like politics.
Is it we do too much politics or we do too much talking?
Yeah, but that's what constitutes politics, right? Democracy, right? You say what's on your mind, I say what's on my
Propaganda
mind.
here, this,
exactly.
that.
But the point is like a lot different. I mean, look at like Asia, right? Like a country like China, the same thing. There is almost less to no talk in China, right? Yeah. It's like there's a consensus.
Things are
This
just
is good
done.
for the country. It gets done, right? Because it's like I think once I heard somebody say all the A students are all going in the same direction.
Yeah.
They pick out what the strongest, the smartest, the brilliant people in society. They put them together. They all
Spread
get
them
on
all over the world.
They
go
all
to
get the
school,
same agenda, right?
Yeah,
They all get on the same. So it's not like there's gonna be like a divisive force whereby there's like Group A opposing Group B, and they're gonna drag things out in Parliament. It's gonna take weeks. It has to go to the Supreme Court, right? All this nonsense. They kind of like leapfrog all these nonsense, and I feel like these are. I know people call it communist, but I don't really believe China's got a communist government. I think it's a mishmash of everything. Socialist, what you call it, capitalist, communist. It's, as long as it works for the country, they will implement it.
Right.
But we just so stuck up with politics, right? It's like democracy.
Right.
And I feel like we don't even know what democracy means. Right? Because at the end of the day, all we do is talk. But at the end of the day, who are we really talking to? When you say we need to, right? That's what they say. Africa needs to, we need transformation. But what are we doing about it?
Right.
That's why I asked the question.
Hold on, sorry. I think this thing, I don't know if it's biannual or it's I don't know, yearly based. These meetings they keep having amongst the SFCs in Africa, but it's like they do these meetings time and time again, but no real packed out policy comes out and we say, okay, hold on, next year this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with the blocks, like you say, SADA, ECOWAS, or these ECO, whatever, all these blocks, right? And then they become building blocks. And then finally, we have to kind of unite. But there has to be clear-cut policies where we know year one, this is what we're going to do. Year two, this is what we're going to do.
Exactly.
Once people are educated about it, conscientized about it, then people can get on board with it.
Thank you.
Because they have enough time to think about it, debate amongst themselves. You know what I mean?
Let me debunk something you said earlier about he not showing example. If you watch the whole speech, at a point he said that on the point of electricity, he actually explained what he's doing in Uganda. And that's why the caption says he doesn't entertain that nonsense anymore, because he said that he had instructed the electricity authorities to supply electricity to people who are doing business at a certain rate, and they can't go beyond that. So that goes to show that at least he's trying to do something about it.
Okay, so you give credit where credit is due.
Right.
But look at, my thing was coming from the number of years he has been there.
Right. Is it only now?
It is only now.
Right.
That's the thing. And when you were talking, I wanted to say something. I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
When they talk about we need to do something. Who are the we?
Because the leaders, yeah.
Okay, so he's talking to his peers.
Yeah.
Good. So, like you said, after the meeting, it was about Africa. What is their plan? Have they listed the plan for even the African continent, the plan they have? And then after that, individually, that is when the we comes in again, when they go back to their country. So let's take it, we are Ghanaians, Akufo-Addo. This meeting, he will be there. But actually, he's leaving.
Yeah, actually, this meeting is heads of states, but sometimes for some countries, it's a ministers of finance who represent the president.
But he will still leave because our minister of finance is from.
It's part of the
listen,
cabinet.
the problem is, like I said, we're not really looking at like solutions to homegrown problems because people have been criticizing them. I think the Kenyan president, a few African about like traveling way too many times in 1 month.
Yeah,
because when they were in opposition, they used to criticize the sitting government about all these unnecessary expenses because it's costing taxpayers a lot of money. But the audience, I think he had like 56 flights, whatever you may call it, trips, I think in 1 or 3 months. I forgot, or since the year started. So that's a lot. That's a lot of like, because he has to go with like
an entourage,
and they all get paid for. That's a huge bill for the country,
right?
And nobody's really seeing these trips like being fruitful. They're not getting any returns. If they are, they're not really noticing them. So that's what I'm saying. We have to really understand, right, what the homegrown problems are. What do people need? What are the complaints on the ground?
Another question.
Like the last time, hold on, who was saying something? I forgot who said something. That KSM. The only problem is we have to what? Grow what we need or grow what we eat, and then do what? Eat what we grow.
But don't we know that?
Yeah, but that's the thing. But they're not coming up with clear, crystal policies for people to adopt, right? People are still importing. We're importing like crazy. There are some things that are even locally grown, which do not need to be imported, but we still do import them. So the question then becomes, why are we not putting measures in place to kind of stifle the importation process?
Right.
So these are stuff, like you say, it's very basic, like everybody knows.
Basic.
So why aren't they trying to
So
these policies
that's the
out
next
there?
one I wanted to come to. Let's give the president Museveni the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, he's making sense. He was hammering on the points that it is important, if we want to encourage private sector growth, to reduce electricity and transportation. If you look at Africa now, even in big economies like South Africa, they're load shedding. And Ghana has joined the bandwagon, and I believe many other countries.
Yeah.
In fact, there are even places in Africa that are still not connected to electricity. People are still sleeping in like the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So when he says that, it's not even a matter of do we agree. It is something that has to be done because every business runs on power, runs on cheap transportation. So do we think in that aspect he's making sense when he makes these suggestions?
Listen, whatever he said on that platform, he has 100%.
Right.
And that is what we all wish for. But my question here is that he has been in power longer than most of them.
Right.
So he should be more of an example because he has the idea, right? As in how to do it. Because he has been able to do it, the blueprint is already there. So, hey guys, this is what I think we should do. This is copy. Then you photocopy. Then I photocopy. But then
the factors in every country are different. There are some countries that are
when I say photocopy, I think you look like somebody.
I'm asking the questions. So
when you hold on. When you are copying from someone, you don't copy including the person's name. Then your teacher won't feel
so that's what I was coming to. That if we say
but when you talk about photocopy, he copies everything on the paper. So how do you write the person's name?
Right.
Right.
You photocopy, take it home, and see what the answers are related to your situation.
So what I wanted to say was, for example, if in Uganda they have big dams that produces electricity, in some countries they don't even have rivers. They are dry lands. They don't have the sea. So you can take the idea, but it has to be modified. Some countries cannot use hydro.
So you have to modify. That is my point.
But what I want us to look at is, if he's talking about cheap electricity, we all know electricity is very expensive in Africa.
Everything is more expensive.
Why haven't we, since independence, 1950s, why haven't we been able to break that code till now?
So you are singing what I'm singing from a blue.
We're just too busy making photocopies.
Okay. And copying the person's name on top of it. But
No. But I'm not being sarcastic. To be frank, that's the truth, because it's like we blindly copying what the West is doing, and sometimes because of our differences, right? What works out there might not work for us.
We're
But
not
my brother, if you're
domesticated,
copying,
We're not domestic. We're not even kind of trying to adapt it to
Listen,
our local structures and traditions and customs and whatnot.
We are copying. So which particular one are we copying? Because I
Everything.
cannot see. Because if I'm sitting here, right, in an exam room and I'm copying you, right, and I know what I'm copying is 100%. I can see everything.
Right.
At least, even if it's 80%. It should be visible from the results papers, right? So if we keep copying the West, which I agree that we are doing in the name of politics, that is what they claim they are doing. It should show.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah.
How?
How this is why we're going down the poverty abyss. Why? Because we're copying blindly. What is working for them is not going to work for us, right? These are ones that I think have been put in.
So we are copying. So say we are copying blindly.
Of course we are, because you might be able to copy 100%, but the thing is, there are different, like I said, traditions, custom, different variables that the same thing might not work for you. Example, LGBTQ. There are a lot of things out there in the West that is acceptable to us. It will not work for us.
Right.
And we're gonna spend a lot of time, taxpayers' money, right, in Parliament. Debate these things, goes to the Supreme Court, it has to go to the president's desk for approval. It becomes like the topic of debate for 3 months.
Yeah,
that's a total waste of time.
Right. So
why are we having this debate? We have bigger problems to talk about.
Exactly.
Okay, the same thing. Sorry, we talked about like flooding, but a week ago, flooding in Ghana, right?
Ghana.
Now, I mean, what we do is like we spend 43 million desilting, right? When crystal clear, we can use this money to bring in some expertise, look at the solution as a whole, and we look at the way for how do we prevent these things from happening again. But we like to, we like to push the problem aside, right? We leave it for the next day. Let the water run through for now.
Exactly.
Next time if it happens.
You guys, the desilting one, I am not an expert, but even as an ordinary mind, I just know that desilting is not a solution. Kill the problem from the roots. Take people away from the canal and develop that place into a modern area, and then you will have the
exactly again. They're like a little like coalition forces, like activists fighting this GMO fertilizer and whatnot for the farmers to grow crops. These are some of the things I'm saying we're copying blindly. Right. We're not used to some of these things. And to be honest, health, industrial, whatever sector you might call it, we're not that sophisticated enough. We're not that well positioned.
What do you guys want to say? We're being left behind in
we're not well that positioned. Because we're not used to some of these new diseases that these kind of GMOs are gonna bring, right? All these cancers and all these, some of these crazy, I can't remember some of the names, some like long ass names, right? But then we bring in the GMO, not knowing what kind of effects it's gonna have on our local population, right? Because our bodies are different. What we use for different. The climate is even different.
That's why we're dying early.
This is what I'm saying. So we're not ready for that, but we just copy whatever the West is doing. Oh, look at that, they're growing food at a very fast rate, fast pace to feed their people.
Stay on Museveni. So on the second point, first one was electricity, second one was transportation, and he hammered a lot on rail. He said that you can't think of developing your industries without rail transport.
It comes back to the same thing he said, right? You can't.
Right.
He's in charge. He's been in charge for 38 years. So who is he giving, or who is he sending out that message to?
To the leaders assembled there.
Yeah, but all this has been in power for at least 4 years.
So that's why I always feel like the AU, I wouldn't like to call it useless, but I think they just lost track.
You don't want to call it useless, but they are useless. If you, like 51, 52 states on the continent, right? If your headquarters, right? Do you know what I mean? Your headquarters, AU head office, is donated to you by China. Right? How much did that place cost to be able to get? Right.
I bet we love free gifts.
But this is what I'm saying, right? So we can't say they're not useless. They're absolutely useless, because let's face it, all those kind of donations, all those kind of like freebies are not really free.
We know.
We got to be realistic about it.
Nobody has money so much in abundance that they can just give to you for
Even
free
if you do, they would need something back.
Listen.
Okay, so all this talk. They keep going to this meeting. They keep repeating the same thing. What actions are they taking on the ground?
Exactly my point from the beginning. Everything he has listed, they should have done it before I was born. They've not done it still. even this current generation keep asking, why do I can see on TV this country some years ago they had problems, but today look at them, they have real every sector, their sectors. Okay, there's challenges in every country, but you can see that our leaders are making some decisions, helping, changing. So if I come to tell you, we've been together, I'm the eldest for the past 50 years, I've not been able to do but every time we go to family meetings, I'm the first to say, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this.
Right.
Where is the respect?
So,
where is the? I have to be able to show.
You have to own some kind of
own something. Show something.
Yeah.
Be a beacon. Be that. Say, listen. If it was this guy talking, the Rwanda's Kagame, I would not react like this. Why? Because just 1996.
1994.
The genocide.
Right.
1994, 1996. During that period. We saw what happened there.
Right.
Today, you compare that country to our countries and some African countries.
No, you compare it to Singapore, not our countries.
Good. They've done so well. Yeah. So if that leader comes and say, we need to do this, he has this is what I've been able to do.
Recently, I saw videos of Tanzania.
Yeah.
They've brought in so many trained coaches and they're actually testing them. So Tanzania seems to be on the right path because I was really impressed.
That is what we want to see.
So many real
but that's the thing.
Hold on for a second. All the things he has listed, once again, even a layman.
So my point was, they all keep pushing the same agenda, right? Industrial. It's the only way for us to make progress or develop industrialization, which I do understand. But you cannot do everything from scratch. So just like saying, by them bringing in like trained coaches, ideally you should be able to even produce your own stuff. But I mean, some of these things, there's no problem if you import them from other countries because it's going to take a long time for you to get there, right? So these are okay, but there are certain basic things that you can also do as a country to industrialize. Museveni was saying the same thing. They quit selling the raw materials of iron ore, and then they kind of had this understanding with these buyers that if you want to buy our ore, which is like the purest on planet Earth, you have to build the factories on our land, employ our locals, produce there, right?
Rules,
and then you can ship out, export, or whatever. That kind of makes sense.
Yep.
This is what I'm saying again. Ideally, the country should actually even buy all the necessary equipment and production line to the locals, produce, so everything kind of like remains in the country. This is what China does.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to kind of bring like investors in. If it's necessary, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Every country wants like direct foreign investment, whatever that is. But with certain things like refining gold, all these things that we have the resources under our soil, we just dig them out and then we export them out. And we all know this thing is a problem.
Including the leaders, they know it as well.
Exactly, man.
But the problem, I feel like their hands are pretty much tied because when you kind of like keep bringing in loans after loans after loans
then excuse my language, they should just shut up and then just
at the end of the
let
day,
us live the way we are living.
At the end of you signing contract, that is saying you're gonna concede. You have to concede something, right? So you're gonna say, there's a lot of concessions made. Okay, we're gonna give you $3 billion in return for that. Well, we're gonna be taking your gold for the next 5 hours, right? 100,000 tons per week, whatever. Those are the deals. So how can you refine yours when you already have this kind of like heap on your
what you're saying, if you give whatever the list they've made there, which is brilliant, if they give the power to a layman today, to you, you have those ideas already. You just go in and find a way to implement those things. So they have the power. Somebody like him, he has been in power for years, right? He should have done all these things.
Right. But I think they all contain. They've all been contained in certain fears. They cannot get out of certain.
My point here is that it is about time. This current generation, we don't need the talking.
Yeah, we're kind of done with the talking.
We're done with the talking. Just do the action because we've seen the other countries.
Yeah.
Listen, let's sit here. We'll bet. Ukraine and wherever there is a war, some of these small misunderstanding, those places. They would finish this thing, they will sign a treaty and rebuild, and we'll still be where we are.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you look at the last 20 years, 20, 30 years, they've taken how many? 800 million people out of poverty. 800 million people. But you know, the crazy part is when you talk about it, right, and people are like, oh, you cannot compare yourself to China. But it's like, you can.
Every country.
They were once, they were once in the same position you were. Probably even worse.
Worse.
Why? Because they do not have the resources that
and they were many.
we have. Right?
Every
And they still try to make it.
And every country has its own dynamics. You have to look at your specific dynamics, turn it around to make it work for you.
Thank
you can't even say that, oh...
Yeah, so I feel like when people compare that, you can compare, like, yes, you can. Do you know where they came from? Do you know how many invasions China had? Do you know the poverty that was in China? Do you know what they used to eat in China?
Yeah.
You know, so it's all about commitment. It's all about accountability. It's all about having like a vision and just Dubai, the same thing. They're going to go, oh, you cannot compare Ghana to Dubai. You cannot compare... But why can't you?
Why do we always keep
Dubai
making
was
excuses?
literally a wasteland.
Right, yep.
What did they discover?
Right.
Just oil.
Listen,
How many different resources have we discovered?
I will say it and say it again. They can go. I'm not in power. Nobody wants me in power. But what I'm saying here is that yes, nobody. But the truth is that they have the power. They have the pen and whatever to sign those dotted lines to make changes. Don't come and talk among yourself. Be in your room. Don't be on a video. Talk. Let's do it, and then do it. Let me see the work. And then I will make my decision that this is my country.
Yeah.
This is what they are doing. They should stop talking to us because all these unions in Africa, I don't know what they've been able to achieve. I don't care whether they've done certain things before, small. It means it's not enough with the population, with any country you pick. Whatever any government have been able to do within 8 years, 4 years, they should just shut the F up and do the real job on the ground.
Yep.
All right. Well
this
said.
morning is people are taking trotro and people are right when it rains every single you just talked
Every
about
single rainy season.
It rained just a week ago, just some few hours in Ghana, and this thing started 1920.
Well said. I mean, when you talk about these things, you just need passion. But my only consolation is these days you can see around the continent that a lot of people, young people, even some old people are kind of joining the bandwagon and calling for a change in how we manage our resources and develop our country. So too much talk and less action. I think now
because of you leaders, you travel everywhere and then people using racism and everything, stopping people's shine and just because we allow you people to rule. Like what kind of
right?
So my parents suffered. My great grandparents have suffered already. Me too. I'm suffering. My children will come and suffer just because you people claim you've gone to school.
Yep.
All the things we are seeing that can be done, if you give it to a layman, they will be able to do it.
Yeah. So that's why, like I was saying,
you sit somewhere and then in an air condition, take the per diem and then come and talk. Bro, you've been in power for about 100 years. You can't even change anything.
So these are the facts, right? I think the time has come for every African. It's not about youth with the aid of the youth team. Every African, whether old, young, whatever, the time has come for us to be calling for action and not this talking. Because we're done with the talking. All these conferences, they go and sleep in 5-star hotels, eat all the expensive foods, and they'd ride their air-conditioned planes back home. So yes, the president had a point, but we will expect that they will start it from their levels and pull everyone along so that the continent can really, really develop. Now we're done with talking. Let's take action. Thank you so much for sticking around and indulging us. Leave your comments in the comment section and tell us what you think.
Anybody
about
that wears yellow honestly, on the podcast, you have to suspect him.
Every African is tired of this talking. We need action and not talking. All right? So we're not happy here. Actually, very angry with our leaders. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace out.